Philadelphia Phillies, they're thinking they can compete, and they're right there in the standings now, 3.5 games back from the New York Mets. And they got Freddie Galvis, as I talked about earlier. Check that out. And they also now just traded for Ian Kennedy and Kyle Gibson. So right here, these are two good moves that the Phillies need. They needed a rotational guy, a third or fourth starter. And obviously they need a back end of the bullpen guy, with this bullpen blowing tons of saves and going through 3 or 4 closes throughout the season. So Kyle Gibson, he's been solid for most of the season with Texas, but the last couple weeks here, he's been getting hit hard. But right now, the Phillies get him, and Ian Kennedy and Hans Kroos for the Rangers. For Spencer Howard, who used to be one of their top prospects, Josh Geshner and Kevin Gowdy. So right here, Kyle Gibson on the season, 113 innings, 6-3 record, 92 hits, 36 earned runs, 9 homers, 41 walks, 94 strikeouts, an impressive 2.87 ERA, and a 1.18 whip with 13 quality starts. So Gibson, he was undefeated up until June here with a Texas team that obviously isn't a good baseball team and trading off a lot of pieces this season. But the last couple weeks, Gibson, he's been getting hit hard. 11 innings, 0-2 record, 14 hits, 10 earned runs, a homer, 10 walks, 6 Ks, an 8.18 ERA, and a 2.18 whip with a quality start. But right now, I think him going to the National League East could definitely help him, is Gibson. The hitting in this division isn't that great. The Nationals, they gutted their whole team. The Miami Marlins, they haven't hit the baseball well for years. And even the New York Mets, who are in first place, they only average about 3.5 runs a game. But that Javier Baez trade definitely helps them out with their hitting. But this division's wide open, in my opinion. The Braves, they made a couple big power bat moves, but those guys do have holes in their swing as well with high strikeout numbers. So right here, it's going to be interesting. And Kyle Gibson's definitely a starter to go behind Aaron Nola. Zach Wheeler to pencil in that third or fourth spot that the Phillies definitely could have used, and it's a good move. And as far as Ian Kennedy goes, that's a possibility he could become the closer down the line here for the Phillies, even though Suarez has been great this season for the Phillies since they put him in the closer role, especially on the season for Kennedy. 32 1/3, 16 saves, 27 hits, 9 earned runs, 5 homers, 7 walks, 35 strikeouts, a 2.51 ERA, and a 1.05 whip. So Kennedy, he's really reinvented himself ever since he came up as the Yankees with all that hype and the next big thing in a pitching prospect. But he's been a decent closer over the last few seasons, and a guy, though, who has bounced around the major leagues. But Ian Kennedy, we'll see him or Ranger Suarez is going to be the closer. That's going to be a good question right now. But I think Kennedy should be the closer for this Philly team. He's got more experience. He's got the big game save opportunities under his belt. And this is what the Phillies have been looking for. They went through a lot of guys in test runs in the closer positions. Jose Alvarado, Hector Neris, who was a train wreck, Archie Bradley, Ranger Suarez, who has been good. But I think Ian Kennedy's better. So as far as fantasy baseball goes, if Kennedy for some reason isn't the closer, then you're going to drop him. But right here, I like the landing spots for these guys, especially for fantasy baseball. They go to a team that's got a better chance of winning games than where they were with the Texas Rangers, and a team that's fighting to make the playoffs. So right here, Gibson and Kennedy, they definitely get a boost as fantasy roster as long as Kennedy's the closer. And on the other side of things, I think Spencer Howard will slide right into that rotation here for this Texas Ranger team. On the season, Howard, we haven't seen much of him though. 28 1/3, 0-2 record, 25 hits, 18 earned runs, 2 homers, 17 walks, 31 strikeouts, a 5.72 ERA, and a 1.48 whip. So Howard, he hasn't been good for the most part throughout his Philly career. Even using him out of the bullpen here. So a former top prospect once again in the Philly system that just hasn't panned out. We've seen it the last few years for whatever reason. Jared Eichhoff, he's been a bust after they said he was a top prospect. Nick Pivetta, even though he's had some success this season with the Red Sox. And now Spencer Howard. So Howard, we'll see if he goes to Texas and could turn his career around. So right now, Phillies get Kyle Gibson and Ian Kennedy. And I think it's a good move for their fantasy purposes and to help the Phillies try to make the playoffs in the final 2 months of the season.